Welcome to a special edition of Rebound Off the Net, Inside the Minnesota Myth, as we preview the Myth's 2024 season. I'm your host, Joshua Cox. The Myth are a startup franchise and will compete in the East Division of the AFL, which includes the Nashville Cats, Philadelphia Soul, and Albany Firebirds. The Myth had the first Latino female owner in the history of sports, Miss Deanna Hutton. They'll be led on the football field by head coach Rickey Foggie. Coach Foggie quarterbacked the former Minnesota AFL team, the Fighting Pike, who played one season at the Target Center in Minneapolis before folding. He'll now go back full circle as he heads into the Target Center to lead the new Minnesota Myth franchise to prominence. Coach Foggie is here with us today to help preview the Myth. Coach, glad to have you back. What are some of your greatest memories playing quarterback for the Fighting Pike?
It was great for me because I went to the University of Minnesota. I had an opportunity to come back and play in front of a lot of my college fans. And in the state of Minnesota and also in the city of Minneapolis. And so just the fact that I had the opportunity to come back and play and have the opportunity to play in front of my fans was just great. Our team wasn't the best, but we had a lot of fun. I got to meet some really good arena football players. A lot of guys are still my good buddies to this day. Abner Ashley is actually one of them. Jeff Lutz, who also is a quarterback and also is on my coaching staff. So I just got a lot of fun memories of us trying to compete in the Arena Football League because that was actually my first year in 1996 after playing in the Canadian Football League. And so it was an adjustment for me, but we had a lot of fun.
Got to hit on this one, Coach. You all probably have the coolest logo in the league. Tell us what you know about the logo and the origination of that.
King Lobo. I don't know how to pronounce his real name. He's a wolf from the Latino culture. That's all I know, man.
Who knows how the team will play, but you have the coolest looking team on the field. So, as I said,
it is. It's a great design for sure. We're impressed by it.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said in the intro, your franchise is led by the first Latino female owner in sports history, Miss Deanna Hutton. What is it like working for her, and what does she bring differently to the table?
She's fun to be around because she's a young lady, and so she got a lot of energy, a lot of spunk. She's focused, she's driven. She knows what she wants her football team and her football operations. She knows what she wants it to look like. As you mentioned, our logo, King Lobo, is her design. And so I think she brings a different kind of flair.
Y'all are a startup franchise. What has it been some of the biggest challenges that came with that, and how's the community responded to your team?
I think they're responding well. With anything new, it's definitely a challenging aspect to it because people just don't know a lot about arena football. People that was, probably in 96, may remember some things about the Pike. So we got to reintroduce arena football to the city and the state of Minnesota. So, we got to do that by going in the public, by advertising, and try to get sponsorship. So all of that is challenging for us, but I think we're up to the challenge. And so the bottom line is, we might not get as much fanfare this year going into the season, but once we start playing, I think people will take notice. I think we have a very good roster. We have a good mix of players that we've assembled, and I really believe in my coaching staff. Like I said, I think having Coach Lutz on my staff, with me and him together, and with our arena football experience, is definitely going to help us guide our football team But just overall, starting up a new team in any league is a challenge. So we're going into it full speed ahead, and we think we're going to be successful.
Absolutely. If you would, you talked about Coach Lutz there. Introduce us to the rest of your coaching staff and tell us a little about those guys.
Okay, besides Jeff is going to be my defensive coordinator. And like I said, he's a former arena football quarterback. So good luck, Jeff. And I just hired my offensive line coach, a guy by the name of David Coffey. He coached with me in De La Salle in high school football. So I know Coach Coffey. He's a very good, aggressive offensive line coach. My receiver coach is Coach Johnny Howard. He also has coached with me in my high school experience. So I've known Coach Howard probably almost 15 years. And then on my defensive line, I have a guy named Trevor Tolley. Trevor was a local high school football coach here at Hopkins High School and here in the state of Minnesota. And he's a very aggressive young man too. So my special teams coordinator is Coach Javon Herring. I know Javon probably since he was 7 or 8 years old. So he's like a son to me. Javon punted at South Dakota State, Jackrabbits. So he's going to be my special teams coordinator. So we have a good mix of guys, old guy like myself. And I got some young guys who have a lot of energy to get this team going. So I'm very confident in our guys. Arena football is a little different. And so me and Jeff both will have to, coach up our coaches also to get them up to speed with the arena game. But we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, and this next question, it looks the same for some, same in some ways, but it looks different in others. What does a typical game week look like for you, and how do you prepare for a game with your coaching staff?
It's all during the week. My biggest thing is preparation. Have the guys prepare for all the situations that we can put them in. So once you get into a football game, you're not spooked by anything. I think I've learned that from Coach Lou Host, who was my college coach. That was his main thing, was preparation. I mean, he went through every situation that you can go through in a football game. He had you mentally prepared. He had you physically prepared. And so the hardest thing, and I take the same approach, the hardest part of the week is practice. We're going to practice hard. We're going to go hard. We're going to go fast tempo. As an offensive coordinator, I want to score a lot of points. I would rarely huddle. I'll do a lot of no huddle. And I prepare my quarterbacks to call their own plays on the field. So, and that'll allow us to do more no huddle football. So on defense, if you know anything about arena football, if you can get the offense to kick a field goal, it's a win. And you got to have some guys up front who can pass rush, and you got to have guys who can pass block. You got to find those receivers who can win one-on-one in this league. It's a one-on-one league. So I think just overall, our team will be fast. Our team's going to be tough. We're going to be physically and mentally tough, and we're going to get after it.
Absolutely. We talked to you a little bit early on in this process. Give us some thoughts on how your thoughts on how the league's become shaped out, and what you think about how it's become.
I think we're getting there. I think the commissioner, Lee Hutton, is doing a great job. Like I say, with anything, as much as positive that we think about this league, as coaches, as members of this league, and then there's the flip side. There's people saying, that the negative stuff that this league is not going to flourish. And so, that's the only thing I really have to say to that is, You just have to wait and see, right? So we're on track. Everything's in place. We're on track to open up training camp April 1st and open up in Nashville on the 27th of April. And so, I'm not a negative guy, so I'm not even going to comment negatively to anything about our league because we're full throttle ahead and we're going to go.
Absolutely, yeah. What are your thoughts on your division? You all have the Nashville Cats, Philadelphia Soul, and Albany Firebirds. It's going to be a pretty tough division. What are your thoughts over on the division and your place in the division?
Yeah, I'm not sure what they was thinking when they put us over there. No, I mean, we don't back down. I mean, in college, I had to play against number 2 Michigan in the big house, and we beat them. And so, no, our focus is how good and how tough and how physically and mentally tough our football team is going to be. I mean, you got to compete. I mean, that's what competition is all about, right? So we don't really care what division we're in. We don't really care who we're going to play. We know we'll be there on game day. We're going to show up, and that's what this league is all about. Arena football is a competitive league, and it usually comes down to who's got the ball last. It's going to win this game. So we'll hang in there. I know, our first year, it's not going to be easy. You got to get these guys to jail. You only have 3 or 4 weeks to get them ready for the first game. So it's going to be an uphill battle for us. But, I mean, seriously, I've been around football a long time, and I know what it takes to win. I know the formula that it takes to win. But at the end of the day, you got to have your guys ready to go out there and play and be successful. So we'll be ready.
Yeah, be a fun division to watch. We'll get into specific players here in just a minute, but tell us a little bit about the process it's been like in putting your roster together. We talked about before, when I talked to you before, you wanted to get some players from the state of Minnesota, former Gophers. How did that turn out, and how did the roster shape out? We'll get into specific players here in a second. But
no, it came out pretty well. We have Demery Croft, who was a quarterback who played under Coach Jerry Kill. So he's going to be in camp competing. We have a couple of other guys. I'm drawing a blank. But we have 1 or 2 more Gopher guys. Bishop McDonald, who's a defensive back with the Gophers, and is a local kid. So I think that I wouldn't say the easiest part, but with social media and guys tapping into us, because we didn't have to reach out a whole lot. I mean, we had an open tryout camp in January. We ended up signing 3 guys from that open tryout. But with guys sending you film, they send you bio. And so what we had to do was, sit down and critique that film and use our best judgment on what we think about these guys. Now the part is, once they get here in camp, you just hope you picked out the right guys. So, but we're pleased with our roster, and we look forward to going forward.
Staying with the roster a little bit, what areas do you think are your areas of strength, and do you have any areas that you feel like you need to see growth in?
To be honest, it's really hard to say. We got some good O-line guys. We got some good D-line guys. I mean, I think me and Jeff did the majority of the, recruiting or the signing of our players. And so I think with my judgment as a former arena player, what you need to be successful. Some guys like big receivers, some like little receivers. I like them both. I like the big receiver and I like the little receiver. You want to get the lockdown defensive backs, which is really not a thing in arena football because it's hard to lock down with the guy in high motion. So you want to get a nice size fullback who can also play Mac linebacker. You want your bigger receivers also to be able to play Jack linebacker. And then, hopefully you have some pass rushers who can get after the quarterback. And then on the flip side of that, they got to turn around and block. So it's a great process. I love the Iron Man concept of this football league because the guys got to be in shape, right? And they got to be mentally tough, I think the one thing that's going to help the guys in this league, when we played, there was a substitution rule. Like you had to play a certain amount of minutes, and then you could sub. With us coming back this year, we're going with the regular rules. So you can sub for your guys at any time. So I think that's going to help. But just the Iron Man concept overall, I think is really good. I think our quarterbacks are really athletic, who can run and throw. And that's going to play, a big part in our offensive scheme. And then just overall, you got to cross your fingers and hope these guys get it.
Yeah, absolutely. You're also going to have to cut some players to get down to the 24 total and then 21 on the active roster. When you look at the end of the roster, what might make the difference between somebody that makes the team versus someone that gets cut?
I think that's the toughest part of coaching is, having to call a guy in and tell him, hey, you actually being released today, and and you're ending someone's dreams, right? That's the toughest part. But I'm thinking hopefully that we pick the right guys, the competitive guys, the guys who want to really get after it and play, and make it hard on our coaches to release these guys. And so if a guy in day 2 is obvious, like, hey, he's out of here, then we didn't do a really good job of recruiting, right? And so so we wanna take this. I think we're gonna April 1st we start out, and I think by the 15th we want to be down to our 24-man roster. And I think 2 weeks of training camp will give each individual player enough time to showcase his skills. And so like I said, hopefully it'll be hard on us to select guys, but I think it boils down to their experience, their ability to play. And so, and with our owner, she wants guys to be quality guys on and off the football field. And so that's the last thing you want is a guy to get cut because he's done something goofy off the field. And so that's going to be my first speech to these guys is, don't cut yourself. Don't do nothing stupid off the football field where it make it easy for us to cut you. Do what you're supposed to do. Why you came here is to make this football team and make it hard on our coaches to tell you got to go home.
Absolutely. Let's start diving into your roster. We'll start with the quarterback position since you're a former quarterback. I know you mentioned the former Gopher earlier, and you got Zachary Redder, who played for the Iowa Barnstormers. What does that position look like? Is there a leader in the clubhouse for that position? And give us a little bit about that position.
No, there's no leader at no position. Like every position, it's got to be one in training camp. I think I have 3 guys coming in. They're kind of similar, but they also is a little different. Zach, I've seen this film when he was playing in Iowa last year. I think I might have watched it about 10 minutes, and I was like, yep, let's get him. He's got a strong arm. He's athletic, and he can throw the ball really well. And then I got Demery, who also, Demi Croft, like I say, is a former Gopher. And just from that standpoint, because I'm a former Gopher, I had to sign a guy. I had to sign him. I got 3 guys coming in who's going to do really well and be really competitive at my QB position.
The AFL is a pass-heavy game, definitely. When you look at the backfield, who might get some carries in that fullback position? I know a lot of coaches are going to use that in different ways. How do you see that?
Well, you do. You have to give the fullback some carries because you're asking the guy probably 95% of the time. Like, what's my job, coach? You got to block. And that's no fun, right? Because and so you got to give him something to encourage him. Because when I played, I had guys that played fullback, had to go through a whole game, and we probably threw it 60, 70 times, and he didn't even get a carry. And he wanted to meet me in the locker room afterwards. He wanted to know what was going on. But no, you do. We got some pretty good running schemes to get our fullback the ball. But two, I got some good running schemes for my quarterback because he's going to be the guy who can make the difference in our offense.
Yeah, look at your receiving core. I know you all have Travis Graham, Jaron McGraw, Terrence Wenzel, to name a few. What does that look like? And do you have any guys that are going to be big play guys in the receiving core?
Yeah, to go along with those three guys, I have Brian Sandiford Jr., who's a local guy, Mo Strong, who has indoor experience, bigger receiver. And so I think we've recruited some guys or signed some guys who can attack the football. And McGaw, Jerron, love him. I think I seen him touch the ball about 3 or 4 times, and it was going to the house. So I called him up right away when I seen this film. And so he decided to come aboard. So, no, we have a good mix of guys. Like I say, I like big guys on the outside and little guys in our slot position. But, we'll mix it up. Everybody will get their shot at the high motion. And because, these guys are professional. And so they ain't high school kids. They want the ball. So you got to keep everybody happy.
Yeah, it's hard to get the ball around and keep everybody happy. So we'll look at the O-line and D-line. A lot of these guys will play both ways, most likely. What's been the challenge of recruiting guys to play both ways? And tell us a little bit about some of the guys that you have signed.
To be honest, I've had a couple guys that played defense that we wanted to sign until we told them, like, you got to play offense too. And they couldn't believe it. Like, they just flat said no. I'm like, okay, well, on to the next one. And so, like I said, we did sign some offensive line guys. That's what they did in college, and that's what they played in the indoor league. And then we did sign predominantly defensive guys. It's what they played in college and what they played in the indoor league also. So I think that what we focused on was guys who's had indoor experience. That was the main thing that we focused on, because now you don't really have to teach them about arena football because it's pretty much the same game. There's a couple rules that's different. But if they have indoor experience, I think that's going to help us bring our football team together even quicker.
We'll move on to a couple more positions. We'll go to the defensive back. A lot of those receivers we talked about earlier are going to be flipping to play defensive back also. How do you feel about your defensive backfield and how it's shaping out?
I think it's pretty good. We have one local kid for sure, Isaiah Malone. Ironically, I coached him in high school. And so he's going to be one of our lockdown DBs. And so if you know a little bit about arena football, what you can do, those guys who was receivers, predominantly receivers, and they have to play defensive back. I don't want to give away too many secrets, but you can hide those guys. There's a way you can hide them. So that's what we're going to do. We have 3 or 4 defensive specialists, defensive backs that's coming in. And so we're going to let those guys lock down the front side, and then we'll hide those receivers on the back of the defense.
Sounds great. What about your kicking situation? Tell us a little about your kicker.
Well, we have a young lady coming in, which is going to be unique. So Michelle Stroder is coming in from California. She's going to compete for our kicking position. She's played indoor football for the last 5 years. When I talked to her over off season, she was kind of skeptical at first. She wanted me to make sure that, her as a female coming in, that she was going to win the job. And so that's another reason why I wanted to sign her. She's confident. She's got a good, strong leg. And she's going to be competing with Drew Pearson. And that's not the old Cowboys football receiver either. And Drew has indoor football experience also. And so we're going to let those two battle it out. And so may the best person win out.
Absolutely. That'll be a good battle. Who's a player, coach, that AFL fans don't have a clue who they are now, but they'll know them by the end of the season?
Going with Demery Croft. I think Demery has a big upside to him. It's a quarterback's lead. I think he has the potential to put up some big numbers. So I'm going to go with Demery Croft at quarterback.
Sounds good. This will be airing during training camp. Coach, what are your plans for training camp, and what do you kind of got on the radar for camp?
Yeah, so for training camp, we're not going to do 2 days. Those days are over. We'll just practice once a day. But my main focus is going to be on, first of all, conditioning. I love conditioning. I like to be in good shape, and I want my team to be in really good shape. And then, second of all, it's going to be executing the fundamentals. I don't want us going out there getting a lot of penalties. I don't want us to go out there making dumb plays. So we're going to focus on the basis of our offense, the basis of our defense, special teams, make sure everybody's on the same page. And then lastly, we're going to get after it. Camp is going to be hard. Guys, we're not going to hit a whole lot, but when we hit, we're going to hit. You have to do a lot of one-on-ones in training camp, both offense, defense line, and with the receivers, and defensive backs. So what we want to do, my main focus is I want these guys to execute. I want them to be smart, and I want them to go out and play free and just have a lot of fun. I love having fun. I'm the fun coach. And so we're gonna make sure they're coached up really well, and then we're gonna just turn them loose when it's time to turn them loose.
Last question for you, Coach. Is there something about your team or franchise that's not on paper and we haven't talked about that you would like the fans to know, and you have a message for the rest of the league?
No, I just think there isn't. I think that we're as a startup football team, we're going to be hungry. My coaching staff is hungry. I'm going to be hungry. My owner is always hungry. So we're just going to bring an exciting brand of football. I think my experience and Jeff's experience in the Arena Football League, we know what we're doing as coaches. We just got to translate that over to our players and just hope they can go out and do a good job for us on the football field. We ain't got no hidden agendas. We're going to come, we're going to try to knock somebody out, and we're going to try to score a lot of points. And we're going to have a lot of fun doing it.
It's going to be a great season, Coach. I look forward to meeting you in person on April 27th in Nashville. I'll be there.
I'll be there, too. Make sure you don't have no uniform on, because I might try to tackle you.
I wouldn't want that. Thanks, Coach.